to Unsightly Opinions. If you're new, my name's Tamara, and today we're going to talk about the real reason you can't pet guide dogs and service dogs. First, you should know a little bit about me. I have been a guide dog user for more than 12 years. Patience, who's sitting in the background right now, is my third guide dog. So I know a lot of the pitfalls and a lot of the benefits of having a service dog and what people do and don't know about what it's like when you have a service dog. Today, I want to share with you my experience of having a guide dog, tell you why you shouldn't pet a guide dog, and why petting really isn't the biggest issue. Distraction is. And while I'll be talking about my guide dog specifically and my experience with guide dogs today, this information applies to just about every working animal that you will encounter in a public space. First, let's talk about how you're going to recognize a pet dog versus a service dog. While there is no clear law that a service dog should be wearing any kind of identification, most service dog users, including guide dogs, will be wearing a vest, a cape, or a harness. I'll pop some images of some different types of vests and harnesses so you can get an idea of what those look like. A general rule of thumb is if you see a dog wearing a vest, cape, or harness, ignore it entirely. It's not petting that's the real issue. When people come up to me, it's not that they go in and immediately pet my dog, while that does sometimes happen. It's the other distractions that are a lot more dangerous. It's looking at the dog, which most people don't think is a real distraction, but it can be, because dogs are dogs. They're not perfect. And while they are incredibly well trained and held to an incredibly high standard of behavior, most guide dogs and service dogs are friendly and they want to interact with people. It's really difficult for them not to interact with people when they're around people all the time. So my general rule of thumb is if you encounter any kind of service dog, or any dog in particular, one, if you are determined that you want to pet the dog, ask. Some people are more comfortable with that than others. I personally prefer people not petting my dog unless I have given them explicit permission. 2, don't look at the dog. And 3, don't interact with the dog in any way. Using a baby voice, saying things like, "Oh, I know I can't pet you, but you're so cute, I know I'm not supposed to, oh, you're so," is really distracting, because just about every dog understands that that voice means, oh, somebody's giving me attention, I really want that attention. And for most guide dogs or service animals, what you're going to see is that those dogs become distracted and attention-seeking. For somebody who uses a guide dog or service dog, they are using that animal as a mobility or psychological tool. They are providing a service to their handler, and that is important. If you are distracting that dog from that task, it means that they could end up in a situation that is potentially dangerous. I have had people come up to me in the middle of crossing a street and try and distract my dog, hand my dog cookies, and that's not safe, because if my dog isn't paying attention while we're crossing the street, they aren't doing their job appropriately, and I could get hit by a car, I could get into trouble, and my dog can start looking for attention in harness when they have no business looking for attention from other people. Know that just about every guide dog or service dog I have ever met is incredibly happy despite what they may look like, that every guide dog and service dog gets lots of love and attention, and they don't work 24 hours a day. So know that even though you can't interact with them, they're not hard done by. They just have to concentrate while they're doing their job or their task. And every guide dog user I know, their dog loves their job. So you hindering that isn't necessarily going to be helpful. Contrary to popular belief, if a service dog is lying down or not actively moving, they are still working. When I am out in a food court and I have my dog tucked under the table, she is still on duty. She is still working, even though she might look like she's asleep. That's her job in that moment. And I may ask her or need her to do something for me within moments of that. For people who have diabetic alert dogs, their dog needs to be on the job and on the ball all the time. So you interacting with them, even if it doesn't look like they're doing a task, you don't know what task they're trained to do, and you don't know what they're supposed to be doing. So please do your best to look from afar, do your best to ignore entirely. Don't look, interact with, talk to, pet, just ignore them entirely. Especially don't feed them. I've heard so many horror stories of guide dogs and service dogs getting poisoned by bad treats, and it's just horrible to hear about. Next, let's talk about what happens if you come across a guide dog or service dog and you have your pet with you. General rule of thumb, is try and let the person know, if they are blind or low vision, that you have your dog with you so that they can acknowledge that you are there. I know there are many types of service dogs that have nothing to do with vision loss, but for me, I'm not necessarily going to know if you're there, so letting me know you have your dog with you is going to give me a good heads up if my dog gets a little distracted or acts a little weird or picks up their pace or starts behaving in a way that's not typical for them. Know that not every dog is perfect 100% of the time. My dog may turn his head, my dog may want to get a sniff in, my dog may get excited, and that's a normal expected behavior from a dog. They're not perfect, they're not machines. So while I have the tools to deal with my dog distraction, if you could do your best to make sure that that distraction is not more than what it already is. So if your dog is barking or if your dog is lunging, if you could do your best to maintain your dog or keep your dog at a safe distance so we can pass, that would be the best advice and help you could give me. If you have a little dog, it would be really nice if you could pick them up as you go past, because then I know that my dog is not going to get in your dog's way or not going to have any kind of a confrontation. I know that most people's dogs are very well trained, but I have been in so many different situations and with every single one of my dogs where there has been an aggressor dog coming on to my dog, and all of my dogs, absolutely every single one of them has been attacked at some point in its working career. Patience got attacked while we were still in training by a Boston Terrier who came up on her rear, and now she is a little bit hesitant around small dogs because of that experience. And there's nothing I can do to change that. I have tried socializing her. I have tried working her through situations where she's experiencing very friendly small dogs, but she is still hesitant when she meets a new dog, and there's nothing I can do to change that. So if you could do your best as an active and responsible pet owner to keep your dog at a safe distance from my dog, that will make my life a whole lot easier. So final takeaways here is please do your best to try not to distract any kind of a service dog or working dog. Whether it looks like the dog is doing a task or not, don't interact. Don't look, don't feed, don't touch, don't talk to. If you do that, it's gonna make my life a whole lot easier, and I'm very thankful that most people already know a lot of what I've said today. I'm thankful that most people are generally responsible pet owners, they know the rules, and I hope that with increased awareness, we can change some of the problems that most guide dog and service dog users encounter on a daily basis. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to share this video if you think it'll help somebody understand, or you want to share the message about what is and is not appropriate behavior around service dogs. That would really help me out. Don't forget to subscribe, hit those bells and buttons. If you want to keep up to date with what's going on in my daily life in between uploads, I have my social media accounts linked down below, and I have an accessible Twitch stream every Sunday night, 7:30 Mountain Standard Time. But that's all for today. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.